Um, as I said, today we're going to be talking about solo travel destinations with wonderful Raj Gyawali, my dear friend, whom I met a while back, but a little bit more about it later. And Itaru Suzuki-san, a dear friend as well, that I was very pleased to meet and also to be guided in Japan just a half a year ago. And this picture was taken, probably Raj, and maybe some of you recognize it. It's actually from Nepal, from a little viewpoint where I ventured solo. I don't know if I should have, but this is what I did. I still see we have some people joining. So let me just, I'm sorry that it's taking a little bit of time. Waiting room. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Yeah. Can you still see my screen with the mountains in the background?
Yes.
Perfect, wonderful. So welcome once again, and thank you for making the time to hear a little bit about our approach to solo travel destinations, and also to hear from our wonderful guest speakers that I am yet to introduce. So yeah, as I said, I would like to start shortly by introducing the whole phenomenon of solo travel. It's been out there, as we know, for a while. Then we will, and also introduce ourselves, and then we will move swiftly to how to travel solo in Japan and what's waiting for us there to help us navigate life transitions and have a meaningful travel experience with long-term results. And out of respect to Itaru's timing, as it's after 11 p.m. his time, we will try to get there quite fast. We will then have a short Q&A session, if you will, and we will jump right into Raj's presentation about Nepal and his life and his mission over there. And we will then end up with a little bit about like how we can make the real change happen and how we can travel solo differently, and hopefully finish this meeting with some takeaways as well and some little gifts going forward. So I would like to ask you all in the chat to say or to write down what's the one of your biggest motivators when you travel solo, if you have traveled solo before, and if not, what's your biggest travel motivator for traveling solo in general? You can also type from where are you calling today, if you're okay with that. Maybe I will stop the share for a second, just so that I can be here with you. Having time on my own. Okay, great. Anybody else? What's your motivator when you travel solo? If you want to share. Okay, Thomas, I just love being on my own. Yeah, I feel you. There's so much to be heard in that silence. Often, I know it's not about silence only. Lindsay, the ability to step away from the day to day and do the inner work. Wonderful. I love that. Karunya, to travel within oneself. Love it. Beautiful. Dana, time to think. Love it. Thank you for all these shares. I will give another few seconds for anybody to share theirs. Sharmila, thank you. Explore on my own. Wonderful. There's something special about exploring on our own. I feel like it gives us this boost of courage often, and really allows for meaningful conversations that probably wouldn't happen if we were in a company of others. Jani, hey, I'm Jani and I am from Goa, India. I'm planning a solo trip to Portugal, and this is my first time traveling solo. I just want to be able to have the freedom to do what I want. Lovely. Thomas, yeah, do exactly what I want to do. And I love to work alone on work assignments. Yeah, thank you, Al, for being here again. And hello to Bobby as well. Thank you, Bobby, for making it. Alessandra, I just starting out, planning a different outlook, a different phase in life. Love it. Yeah, I really congratulate you for your courage to do that. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm gonna come back to those in case there is some more. So lovely. Thank you for sharing that. I feel like especially with traveling solo, these motivations are very important, and sometimes we do give it some thought by investigating our intentions and trying to like plan our trips accordingly. Oftentimes, we unfortunately fail to honor those and apply those learnings into our everyday life. And here, just shortly, I don't want to spend too much time on introducing myself, but I wanted to introduce myself by showing you these pictures that were taken either in Nepal or in Japan. Some of you might recognize the places. So for me, the motivators have always been people, first and foremost, embracing challenge, mountains, as well as navigating countless life transitions, which brought me, as some of you who attended last workshop about the art of solo travel, they brought me to over 60 countries unassisted. From within each 10, in 10 I used to leave. Feel very honored and privileged to be able to have been able to do that. Unfortunately or fortunately, even though no matter how often and how far I will venture, I often came back, and after a while of this awe, after the travel experience, I will come back to the old good, so to speak. And I felt at some point that something was missing for me, and there was this opportunity out there that hopefully will allow us all to have a more meaningful and long-lasting learning experience through solo travel. But let's come back slowly to the topic of our conversation today. So, as we might all know, the solo travel is booming, especially after I started this project. I really started noticing, but maybe it was like kind of, I was biased because I was really searching this topic. But apparently, the solo travel destination started to be a topic of in many major outfitters and magazines. Many tour operators starting offering tours for solo travelers, especially women. And accordingly to the latest research, almost 50, 55, 50, 30, sorry, 43 of travelers overall traveled solo last year alone. And this number was really high amongst people between 18 and 44. Almost slightly about 3/4 of travelers that age traveled solo last year. And here, as you can see, like there's a lot of interest in international media, especially for the women who travel solo, which make up almost 85% of solo travelers overall, which is quite astonishing. We still have people joining, which is great. And welcome everybody who just joined. We started rolling with the presentation. We just discussed shortly what are our motivators for solo travel. And we kind of introduced the whole thing by talking what's happening around us in terms of the popularity of solo traveling. And of course, the great benefit it might bring us if done well. And I know we covered it also last week, but I want in the different workshop, but I wanted to bring it about once again. So apparently, why we travel solo? People travel solo to feel that they can be flexible and free. I think many of you mentioned that in your answer. Also, of course, as well for well-being and escape, not without the reason that wellness tourism has been booming and changing, thankfully, towards more holistic approach, as well as personal growth and transformation. And here I compiled destinations that, after studying all these latest travel magazines on the topic of solo travel, and destinations that travelers were more likely to opt for whenever venturing alone, those were the most prevalent. We have Denmark, we have California, New Orleans, Puerto Rico, Ecuador, South Africa. Germany was very high and very present in those rankings. South Korea, Japan was all over them. Thailand, Singapore, Australia, New Zealand. And we do travel a lot. However, accordingly to the latest research in behavioral economics that has been conducted between 2023 and it's ongoing, we have some results on who traveler really want to become when we travel solo to all these destinations. And the findings are kind of, I mean, at least to me, after having studied the topic of transformational travel for a while, was kind of surprising still. It was really beautiful to see that over 25% of travelers that have been interviewed said that they travel solo because they want to become more knowledgeable, confident, productive, and focused. So that's actually a beautiful indicator as well. I know many of us here are working in tourism industry, and I feel like we can probably sense and really witness that the tourism industry is moving towards there, to guiding transformations, to guiding travelers on a meaningful experiences. Even if they travel solo, oftentimes tourism has been offering group departures for them. But I feel like knowing that what they're looking for is really becoming, gaining some more knowledge, confidence, learning how to be more productive and focused is it might be a very interesting indicator. And here, unfortunately, very often, after a little research that I've done before Empowered Travel really started 2 years ago, many women to whom I talked shared that unfortunately, these solo travels, they consider them a failure. And this is a quote that I would like to share with you from Mary from Canada. She's 53, 54 now. I took a 9-month solo sabbatical, hoping for transformation and inspiration. Instead, I felt defeated, inadequate, and exhausted. What I imagined as a journey of self-discovery became a stressful blur of constant travel and logistics. And one of the reasons why we are here is to hear from real, actual local experts who take personal development and long-term results very dearly, and as something very important in their work, as well as in ours. Just like very shortly, the reason why we came up with Empowered was to aim to solve that, to help travelers raise their chances of self-empowerment through solo travel that's been so popular over millennia. And we came up with this very short, very simple model inspired by Morita therapy from Japan. And it consists of 4 stages. So whenever I travel now, even if it's a weekend, or our clients, we really invite them to incorporate these 4 stages into their outing so that it hopefully bring them more opportunity to really feel refreshed, came back with more clarity in terms of their purpose, give them tools so that we can take a constructive action and also integrate it into everyday life. And these stages, as you can see, deep rest and introspection first, very important, allowing our nervous system to regain its capacity to function at its best, and came up with all these ideas because we truly believe at Empowered Travel that empowerment should not come from a yoga retreat only or from the meditation app. Nothing wrong with that, of course. We use them and that's wonderful. But it's in us. But sometimes we silence it by all the plethora of activities, distractions that we voluntarily decide to take on with our lives in the name of development, career, family, etc., etc. And sometimes I feel it might be very beneficial for us to start with the deep rest and introspection and being completely unplugged and alone. So this is how we start. Then we move towards purpose or discovery, where we use different tools, as we mentioned last week as well, such as, for example, working towards identifying our ikigai, the reason for living. Here, I'm sure Itar will be able to tell us a little bit more about it later. We then move towards a more action-driven stage where we crave connection, so we don't isolate anymore. We crave challenge and discomfort, as apparently, accordingly to scientists, this is where the real identity change happens. And then we move towards one of the most important stages, which is this integration, applying this to everyday life. And we guide our clients for a wide range of activities that they can do differently when they are back. From, for example, joining a city tour in the city that they've been living for a while, but just in order to see this place differently, to connect with other travelers, etc., and see the place through their lenses, to regain this thrill and excitement and appreciation about the place they go. Or, for example, we encourage them to invite friends over for a dinner, cooking a dish from the place that they've just visited. Just do things that are uncomfortable, maybe different, to start living differently by doing simple things. Something that I love the most about Japanese psychology that this program has been inspired by is the simplicity and approachability of it. But let's say is enough of it. And we were very happily surprised at the beginning of the year by being featured in Euronews, which definitely made us feel that we were on the right path and into something here. And here, before I head over to Itaru-san from Echizen, Japan, I wanted to come up with a few destinations where we've been recommending our wonderful travelers to go. In between them, countries like Slovenia, Armenia, Azores, Oaxaca, Oregon, Idaho, Patagonia, Tasmania, etc., and as well Nepal and Japan. And very shortly, we're talking about destinations. So what we really have very deeply in mind whenever we work with people, with solo travelers, we encourage them to travel either off-season or shoulder season for the number of reasons that I'm sure you all know. But one of them is having this more approachable access to locals that have more space and time to really interact with us, and of course avoiding crowds and the madness and etc. Off the beaten path is important for us. We don't want to send people to places that have already seemingly enough of us, like Mallorca or Venice. Also, if possible, we encourage people to travel by public transportation, or if flying somewhere, to stay for longer. And also, the most important part, we want people to travel to the culturally foreign yet safe destination, so that all these processes can happen. And here, I would like to introduce you to my dear friend Itaru-san by showing you a little video that we have recorded of him being completely unaware in Echizen, Japan, just half a year ago. Is it good?
It's good.
This is the quintessential Itaru to me. Contagious smile, extreme kindness, wonderful depth of knowledge about the destination he calls home, and not only calls home, but also feels getting emotional, as I know how important it is to Itaru as well. To make this place a common place on the map where people travel to, as well as to maintain the traditions and the existence of the monastery, which he and his family call home. Itaru is a lay monk and a tour guide that's been learning and gaining his experience from the best of experts. I don't know if Masami is here, but somebody who's been helping Itaru with amazing results. So over to you, Itaru. And thank you for being here. You are muted just in case.
Thank
Perfect.
you.
And I will make you host, as I know you wanted to share your presentation. So I will stop sharing mine for a second. And we'll make you the host. Thank you for being here, Itaru.
Thank you for asking me to speech. Am I okay now?
Yes, it is. Yeah, you are a host now.
Is it okay to share my screen?
Do whatever you want.
Thank you. Let me do it.
Feel free to introduce yourself and share with us how we can, as solo travelers, get the most out of our ventures into your beautiful region and country.
Okay, thank you. Can we see that pictures?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. Oh, first of all, thank you for Monica-san asking me a speech in this such a great conference. I'm so appreciated, and I'm such an honor to become being a part of your members. And I'm arigatou gozaimasu. I will do my best. Arigatou gozaimasu. Yes. So let me start my presentations first. In a modern society where there is so much stress in our busy lives, we're an overload of information. Environmental factors can seem that they're pushing us around. It often seems that we don't know how to rest the mind. So let me give you first questions. When was the last time you truly stopped? When was the last time you truly stopped? Hi, my name is Itaru Suzuki. I'm a monk, and at the same time, I'm a guide. When I guide, I don't usually wear like this, like kimonos. This is very official, so this is very official conference. So I try to do my best. So let me talk about my background first. I have been a monk for 13 years. When I was 10 years old, when my dad passed away. From that moment, I was hopeless and insecure, but yet my long journey has started as a monk. I was ordained at the age of 10 years old. Ordained means to become a Buddhist, to enter the Buddhism world. This is such a moment. We shave our heads and we went to the head temple. What we do at the head temples, we learn how to read a sutra, and we do cleaning with the collectivism with the people. On the bottom left corner of the screen shows how to sit in zazen. Can you see that teacher is holding the urun stick called the kyosaku? Monica-san tried the zazen once. If we put their hands together in gasho, the teacher strike their shoulders. Not like as a punishment. It's a cheerleading to help us refocus and reawaken their mind. I do remember this moment. One day I asked my teachers, is it hard? Because I was 10 years old. I know nothing. And he said, if your mind is calm and if your mind is complete, it is not hurt at all. So I just put my hands together, gasho style, and he strikes. It hurts. It very hurts. It very hurts. I don't recommend you to do the strikings, but my mind restart again, and my mind is awakened again. It's like more cheerleading. And on your right, on the bottoms, that is the fire purifications. While doing the reading sutra, then we do like fire purification. This is one of the hardest training in my trainings. This is very small buildings, but there are more than like 5 of them. Then we do fire purification. So we cannot see even in 1 meters away, but we cannot see because of the smoke. That is one of the hardest. After I got over it, then I became a monk when I was 22 years old. I'm now 35 years old now. So, and I was ordaining at 10 years old. So it took 12 years to become a monk. And I'm now 13 years being a monk. But I still figure it out how to rest the mind. So I asked my teachers again, and he showed me this. This is the word of the Zen priest, the Sengai Gibbon's famous words. Each of the shapes represent a different state of mind and being. The circle represent a peaceful and wise mind. Their mind is calm and complete. The triangle represent a person who is still learning and practicing. They're not perfect, but they're trying hard to become better. This is like the shape of seated, the posture of Zazen. The square represent a trapped mind. That's like today's society, a mind full of worries and desires. When we think too many things in busy lives and jealous and angry, our minds become stuck and not free. But if we take just one step outside from any side, we'll be free. The step itself becomes the entrance. Then the teacher asked me again, which shape are you? I didn't know the answers. So I just sit, think less, and just sit. Where can we sit? We can sit anywhere. We can do zazen. We can meditate ourselves anywhere. But I believe location has energies. Location holds an invisible energy woven by people and natures. And time has memory. Time carries the memories of those who once lived there. If you do something the same place every day, the place now holds that energy. People realize that how powerful energy is. This is like when I meditate in my temple, it was much easier to meditate because it was built more than 600 years. The people have been meditating 600 years. So please come and join us. We have a lot of energies and history. This is my temple. So once again, when was the last time you truly stopped? Let me explain about where I was born and I grew up in Fukui prefectures. Can we see the map of the Japan? Yes, the
Yes, we can.
Fukui is between the, thank you, Kanazawa and Kyoto prefectures. Kyoto and Kanazawa is one of the biggest urban cities. There are so many tourists, and nowadays there are so many people coming there, and then it was like over tourisms. From Tokyo to Fukui, it will take 3 hours, 3 hours by bullet train, Shinkansen. We have 7 traditional crafts: the lacquerware and ceramics, and bamboo and wood crafts, which is called the tansu, chest of drawers. We put in clothes or kimono into there. And we have agate work and forged blaze and echizen washi papers. Today, I want to focus on one of the traditional crafts. And also, this is something we're proud of too. We have been chosen as the happiest prefectures for 12 consecutive years out of 47 prefectures.
I'm not
Fukui,
surprised,
Fukui.
Itaru, and I think by seeing your apology for the interruption, I think I'm not surprised, and I think nobody here is seeing your smile and your energy.
Okay.
Thank you for mentioning that.
Thank you. So Japan is one of the happiest prefectures. So what's Fukui look like? Can we see these pictures? Nope. This is the picture of Tokyo. Such a lot of technologies. Can we see these pictures? Nope. This is the picture from Kyoto. A lot of temples. We can see these pictures. No high buildings, no shopping mall, no Maiko-san, no shogun, no samurai. But we can meet the people full of happiness. This is on the way to go to Echizen-washi Paper Village. Not our tourist destinations, but a place that resonates with the soul. I'm gonna explain about the Echizen-washi, our favorite traditional crafts. Before we enter the traditional crafts, Echizen-washi, we will usually go to the Japanese shrines. Shrines are a place of Shinto, Japan's oldest religion. There are over 80,000 of shrines in Japan, more than the number of the convenience stores. That's a big numbers. Each shrine has a special god or deities. This shrine enshrines a female deity, goddess of papers. 1,500 years ago, one of the lady come down to the shrine and she told us how to make a papers. Every morning, artisans came to this shrine and they prayed and wished to make a good paper and start to work. Since echizen washi means paper, echizen washi is a highly regarded, high quality, and a traditional technique. Echizen washi paper is the birthplace of Japanese currency bills. And even the artists from abroad have loved echizen washi. Pablo Picasso and Dutch painter Rembrandt also used echizen washi paper. Echizen washi is still delivered to the Robo museums as a repair papers as well. So handmade craftsmanship take on the world. But until 5 years ago, the factory was not open to the public. They don't want to show the technique each other's. There are 27 wash factories in that village, but everybody's are closed. But 5 years ago, they just opened. But of course, they are making a living for making a paper, not a tourism. So we need a lot of respect to go in there. This is one big sheet of paper. How big it is. A lot of artists love these echizen washi papers. Usually when we make a paper, we need only one person, but this sheet needs 4 people to make a big papers. Extraordinary experience. We can see and we can touch the histories. It's so beautiful. This is a moment that Monica-san came to our village, Washi factories, and she is one of the lady. Her name is Aki-chan, and she has been 60 years working the washi factories, and she's such a lovely lady, and she has a very passionate. She has a ikigai that Monica-san explained. The ikigai means reason for being, or mission, or joy, or passion. She has passion about telling the Echizen Wash Company. She has passion about telling how their company is great. She has passion about taking us inside of the factories. She's such a lovely. This is the moment she sings a song for only Monica-san, but she really likes taking people smile. So Echizenwashi is more than a paper to rewrite your story, I believe. Fukui is not only a paper, but also we have the ryokan. This is a hot spring. And we also have the natures as well. We can see the near the riverside. This is like the very beautiful side. It's very countryside. There are only 2 signal lights, and there are only 2,000 people living there, called the Ikeda town. We also have the dinosaurs and Eiheiji Temple, which is one of the head temple of the Zen sects. And we also have the buckwheat noodle called the soba, and we love sushi. Fukui is located near the seaside, so we can get the fresh sushi, and buckwheat noodle is also good for the vegetarians people. I hope you like Fukui prefectures. Fukui, the inner journey begins here. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Itaru-san. That was wonderful.
Thank
You
you.
brought me back in time to the washi paper factory and all these temples, and I cannot agree more with you that the happiness of people is just translates and comes out so well over there. And I can't wait to be back. So thank you
you
very
so
much for
much.
being here with us and familiarizing us with this wonderful place that it's yet to be discovered by many. We talked about the Chizen also for a reason, as it really seems to be one of the perfect spots for solo travelers looking to navigating life transitions and willing to not only rest deeply, contemplate their purpose, but really connect meaningfully and authentically with local people in a safe manner. So thank you very much for making it known to us and for being here and sharing your energy. I would like to open the Q&A, just being respectful also of your time. I know it's very late for you, but if anybody has some questions to Itaru, now is the time.
Thank you.
I will just take a look at the chat if there is any. Yes, please go ahead, Andrew.
देखो आपने जो प्राची को रिप्लाई किया था ना मिश्री कोटकर वाली को तो हाँ तो आपने जो उसको रिप्लाई किया उधर होटल्स तो अवेलेबल है भैया
Kabir, excuse me, Kabir.
अभी आप वो बुकिंग करना चाहो तो अपना आइटा नंबर लेके कर सकते हो
That's beautiful. I would love to be able to understand that.
आइटा नंबर है ना हमारा
I think Kabir might be on a separate meeting or he's on a call. Yeah. Itaru-san, I would be. Would you be so kind to make me a host again?
Okay. Just to share my.
Yeah, just like as we've spoken before, there's these 3 dots at the right top of my picture or video.
Yes.
And if you can click, just click to make me a host back so that I can also share later the screen with Raj. That would be fantastic. And don't worry if you take your time. We're gonna get there. I know that Andrew, you had a question.
Sorry,
how can
I?
Stop. Let me see. If you go, you're sharing your screen now. If you can click at stop sharing the screen.
Okay, stop sharing the screen.
Yeah, I think you did that, and then I think it's. Yeah, I think it should be fine now. I think you did great. Thank you very much. Yes. Andrew, over to you.
Sure. At the beginning, well, I had a little problem getting connected, but as I did get connected, you were talking about why people solo travel and some of the challenges. And I guess I had a big birthday with a zero at the end of it a few years ago, and I decided to take a trip around the world. And when you do that, there aren't that many friends or family who can, take 6 weeks and drop out of their life to come join you. So that made it even more interesting. However, I made a grave mistake that I didn't realize till after taking the trip. I made all of the arrangements in advance, and I had been a business traveler for years throughout South America and Asia and things like that. And because I had all these points and prizes from the hotel chains, I was staying at the Crown Plaza in Perth, and the same brands that I stay when I stay on business. But being in those business hotels, I went right into my business mode, which is I don't talk to anybody because I'm busy at work. I unpack, I eat alone, and many of the hopes that I had for that trip, I wasn't in the right place to find the open people. I was with business travelers and convention travelers, and I should have taken more notes in the journal, the Transformational Travel Journal ahead of time to realize that where I stayed, how I stayed, was going to impact the flavor of who I met and if I met people. So just sort of a note of caution to pay attention to these checklists that that wonderful people put together for us. Makes
Thank
a
you, Andrew,
difference.
for this. This is so important. I feel like the devil is in the details, and here it's in the attitude and how we approach the whole experience, and also how we prepare and how well we examine our mental luggage before we travel as well. And there's so many things out there, but yeah, we'll encourage everybody, and I'm very happy to send to everybody who is here a preview of our approach to how we basically address the attitude in general through the travel experience. But I love that, and I think it's so meaningful. And thank you, Andrew, for bringing this in, a very important subject. Thank you very much, everybody, for Itaru, for your lovely presentation and for the question.
Thank you.
Let's see if towards the end we're still gonna have some time, just being very respectful of everybody's time. Itaru, if you need to go to sleep and join your family, I will totally understand that. I know it's almost midnight where you are.
Thank
So
you. I usually
say-
wake up at 4 in the morning and I go to sleep at 9. I'm now 11, so like that Zen time.
I'm so grateful. I think everybody is. So thank you very much for being here. If
Thank
you
you.
want to stay, stay. But
Thank you so much.
if you want to go, we will understand that.
Yes, so in the morning service, I still have to join, so I will jump off, I guess. But like, thank you for being a part of the in-person line. Such a great time to being with you guys. Thank you. Arigatou
Thank you,
gozaimasu.
Intero. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. See you. And now I would like to share my screen for a second in order to introduce my dear friend Raj Gyawali that I met in London and in Nepal. Just let me maneuver here with the presentation. So as I said, me and Raju were working. We've been working in tourism for a while. Raju has been a wonderful pioneer of responsible tourism and community-based tourism in India, working in between continents. Raj didn't only found the social tours in Nepal, but also has been headed ethical travel portal from virtually from Norway. Here is a picture when Raj, as well as two other friends, the videographer and the photographer, for all of us met in Kathmandu ahead of our research trip to the Everest region during the pandemic. And I think, Raj, was it the first time that we met in person, or what did we meet during the Responsible Tourism Day during World Travel Market in Nepal?
We probably would have met somewhere in the Responsible Tourism Days as well.
I think so. I think so too. I think that was the first time I met your wife, and I
That's right, yeah.
visited the hub that I think had been relocated somewhere else. But I just wanted to show that picture. Anyway, just before I head over I want to show everybody where Nepal is. I'm confident the majority of you know, but if somebody didn't, this is where we are traveling solo now. And over to you, Raj. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thanks for the patience. I think it's going to be really tough to beat Itaru-san because, I mean, the way that he presented his place and what you can achieve there, I mean, it's a tough call. But I'd like to share my screen if you don't mind. And I think I can already. Hang on. I believe I
please
already
let me
can.
know.
Yeah, no, it's all right. I think I can. I'll just give me a second. Yeah, just to show you a little bit, I'll try to take you through a few things that I've just put together.
Wonderful.
You can see my screen now.
Not yet, but I'm gonna stop sharing mine.
Oh yeah, you probably
Maybe
need to
that
do
will
that.
help. Yeah, I think so too. I didn't regain my host abilities, but I'm really glad that it seems like you are able to do that now.
Yeah, can you see my screen?
I can see you at the moment.
I can see your screen,
Okay.
Raj.
There you go. People can see my screen. What's going on with this?
Yeah. It's can anybody see the Raj screen? In my case, it was in a separate tab that just opened. Yes. Okay. Perfect.
Is it okay now?
Yes, I think yes, I can see it. If anybody can see it, please message us in the chat. Yes. Okay. Perfect.
I think everybody can, right?
Yes. Oh wow.
So, namaste. In Nepali, of course, I mean, namaste has become quite a popular word, especially with yoga and the pandemic, since we realized that it's much better to just hold our hands in front of us instead of shaking our hands with other people and spreading germs. But namaste actually means a very profound thing. It actually means I worship the God inside you, which basically translates to, in a simple form, to say that everybody, including bad people, have got something good in them, and you're worshiping that part of it, of the person. So, some people might have it bigger, some people might have it less, but we're worshiping the God inside people. So hence, when people respond to that, they're also worshiping the God inside us. It's a moment to actually really feel ourselves. So to get into the Nepal masterclass, I decided to put this picture of this lady out here. She comes from the Tharu community, and the Tharu community women like to tattoo themselves. They used to do that, I must say. Nowadays, it's not that common, but the tattoos, they do. I had a conversation recently with a lady down in the south, and she told me that's the only thing that she takes when she dies. And that was such a nice, profound thing that she said. This is the only piece of jewelry that I have. Now, interestingly, the Tharu are proven the only community in the world who are immune to malaria. They've got a genetic change in their bodies that allows them to actually survive without malaria. Now, consider this. Since the 1960s, when we started going into the Green Revolution, we put DDT into the fields to kill malaria, and hence their lands have been taken over now by people who would be affected by malaria before. So they are minority, and the rest of Nepal has become majority in a land that they would be majority because they were the only ones who could survive. It's a very interesting thing. And when you showed the map of Nepal, Monica, if you look at the south of it, that's where these people live. And so Nepal was only open up to the world in the 50s. And one of the main reasons it was never colonized was because we have mountains in the north that are impenetrable, high passes, and in the south we had malaria. So that made sure that the country was always safe from colonizers. Very interesting thing. So just to start with that. Now,
great, thank you, Andrew. That's interesting. Very interesting.
It's a very interesting thing, right? So let me go here. So what's the canvas of Nepal? Very shortly, I can try to explain the canvas of Nepal. It is from between actually around 70 meters, actually around 52 meters to the top of the world in about 200 kilometers, in total. And that is the width of Nepal. So it's a very, very steep country. If you look at that line that is here, it's approximately the cross section of the country. And down in the south was where Buddha was born. Up there is Tibet, and across is Tibet. It's simple as that, right? If you put it into a perspective. And because we are in the tropical zone and around 21 degrees, this means that we have from banana or coconuts, we can grow almost to nothing. So we can grow walnuts, strawberries, you name it, macadamia nuts, everything grows in this country. And it goes to the point where, it's alpine, too cold, and nothing can grow. Down at the south, when it's 70 meters or below, in summer, just a few months ago, it would be 50 degrees centigrade in the south, and on top of Everest would be minus 50, 100-degree variation within 150 kilometers. And that is the sort of starkness that Nepal has. So in the south, we have the Royal Bengal tiger, the biggest cat in the world. And in the mountain regions above 4,000 meters, 12,000, 13,000 feet, we've got the snow leopard. We have malaria in the south, and in the top, we have altitude sickness. So people can still have disease on both sides. The malaria is gone pretty much now. On the south, we have huge amount of butterflies, hundreds and hundreds of varieties, butterflies. And on the top, we have something called cordyceps. It's a caterpillar fungus that grows in the grasslands, and it's called Himalayan gold because it's used in Chinese medicine. And a kilo of it in Hong Kong would be $25,000. So it's a very unique country, is what I wanted to paint the canvas as. And within this canvas live the people, which is about 30 million people with about 150 different ethnic groups. Can you imagine that? 150 different ethnic groups, about 125 different languages that are in this country. And they're coming from all over. Some have come from the north, escaping the Chinese invasion. Some have come from the south, like the Tharus. They came from the Thar Desert during the Mughal invasions. Some came from the east, some from the west. And they're from different cultures. They're Hindu, Muslim, Buddhist, Christian, and animists all live here together. And what this has done is, because we always lived in a very harsh, difficult, vertical country, it has made us into resilient fatalists. I'll come back to that because that's something we can give to the world. What is resilience and what is fatalism? Two very important factors that are something you can learn when you solo travel. Not opening up to the world until the 50s also makes it very authentic and raw. What do I mean by this? This is a country with no McDonald's. We don't have McDonald's, we don't have Zara, we don't have H&M, we don't have any of the big brands. We've got a few KFCs, and that's it. And that makes it really, really authentic and a very raw country. And the people are raw, the place is raw, and that is something that you can really get out when you're in solo travel. But the resilient and fatalism of the people, and the fact that we're on a trade route, we're the Silk Route that connects up, we're the Salt Route that connects up with the Silk Route, means that the people are very tolerant. And this is super important for tourism. We're very tolerant and very accepting. Monica is nodding her head, and I think she agrees. So, that is the nature of the people. So the guardians of the space versus the canvas, right? And I just wanted to paint that quickly. So why Nepal for solo travel then? What do you get out of Nepal in solo travel? One, it is super safe. I mean, just a few weeks ago, Much Better Adventures, one of these online retailers, declared Nepal to be one of the top destinations for solo travel in the world. And the reasons, it's not just the obvious, is what I always try to say. The obvious reasons people talk about are it's safe. It gives you something back, So I just wanted to break it down, that it's safe, but yet it's challenging. And that's very important, especially for what Monica is saying, her third step that is requires a little bit of a challenge to take you out of your comfort zone when you're doing solo travel, so you can get meaning behind what you do. And like I said, it's very different than the rest of the world. I like to always say that if you look at the UN Human Development Index, we're one of the poorest countries in the world, but everybody carries a smartphone. Yeah, that is because of our proximity to 2 billion people. More than 1 billion in China and 1 billion in India. So that our proximity gives us that access. And that makes it very, very unique, this country. People are not shy because we are traders. So people are actually, even if they don't know the language, they'll use their hands and feet and they'll just communicate somehow. And that is an immense feature that you find continuously in Nepal. And that human connect that you get is super important when you, especially when you're traveling solo, because you don't have a companion with you. And so getting a human contact becomes very important, but for other reasons as well. And like I said before, the very accepting culture is the very reason why this became a hippie paradise in the 60s, because the hippies were looking for people like us who were accepting them. When they were not accepted in Europe, they were not accepted in their journeys. We were the ones who accepted them continuously, and the nature still stands for today. Even in Nepal today, people are very, very accepting. I think it also comes because we are 150 different ethnicities that have to live together with multiple languages, who have learned to accept each other. Now, I think the most important ingredient that Nepal has, and we talk not much about it, unfortunately, even in tourism circles, is the fact that that scale that we have, that landscape and the canvas and the people make a very, very good recipe. That we have got this crazy landscape, and then we have the people who live all the way up to 4,300 meters, almost to 5,000 meters, you still find people living. And that makes this amazing recipe for the challenge that will lead you to get fulfillment during solo travel, or any other travel for that matter, but for solo travel more so. What does Nepal offer to the solo traveler, really? Self-discovery. This picture is from a shaman I took last year, the shamanistic festival that is happening actually next month. I'll be going there again, where shamans come together to actually get initiated to turn into full shaman. It's like a graduation ceremony for shamans, if you like. And that happens during the August full moon. And, but that's just the picture. But, what Nepal really offers is, because you are challenged and you're in a solo space, you can actually discover yourself. Many times for people to discover themselves, what I really think, and my experience tells me from travel, that you need to push yourself just a little bit. It doesn't have to be crazy stuff. It doesn't have to be jumping from a plane, but if it is just safely uncomfortable, that is the point of learning. And that Nepal offers in bucket loads all the time. The moment you land, you'll be landed with that. And that is giving you that chance, that opportunity to self-discover. And that, I think, is a very important part of solo travel. The art of happiness, I like to put this out here, because you go anywhere in Nepal, people are smiling, they're happy. They might have one shirt on their back, but they will share the food with you. They're that sort of people, and that sort of thing is something is difficult for people to learn. I mean, most people, when they come to Nepal, they say, we came because we learned about the mountains, but we come back because of the people. And that is an amazing thing, that it's an immense thing of pride that we continuously hear in Nepal. And I think from there, that's why I highlighted that, it comes because of the spirituality, the fatalism that we have, the sense of acceptance that we have, that is coming from a spiritual space, and that leads us to that happiness. And I think that is where the self-discovery really comes. It comes from acceptance and stuff like that. There is also, very important when you travel is food as well. And the food is good in Nepal, and that is super important to state, because that can put you down if you have one bad stomach as the end of your trip. So the food is good in Nepal, and that really, really helps. It is open to vegans, to vegetarians, to meat eaters. It's got that, we've got a lot of good produce, and that really helps in Nepal. And what Nepal really offers is very deep people connections, because people are friendly and they are easy to talk with. And it allows for people to make really deep connections if they open up to the people. And I think that is something that is super important for especially that third and fourth stage that Monica keeps on talking about in empowered travel, where you're trying to, give yourself a little bit of room to do something a little bit more crazy, but you're actually trying to learn quite a lot. And I think that is what Nepal really offers. I'll just give you an example of a few things that are, we offer. I'm not trying to sell anything out here, but, just looking at an alleys in Patan, for example, in Kathmandu, just going through little artisanal traditions that are so ancient. I like to say that when you see a door in Patan, you understand that there was no US when the door was made. for example. That sort of stuff is like so crazy old, and yet it is modern. And when you start seeing that, we like to talk about Anthropocene and the banality of evil, which is a very important topic in today's day and age, of how things are changing, but yet, we don't recognize what is important. I take people into rice planting to understand, to ground them into the earth, to recognize where food comes from, and that is an opportunity is accessible in Nepal. You can see the locals are smiling and happy to have foreigners just try and make a fool of themselves, but really having fun. And that is the accepting nature of the Nepalese, which allows you to get engaged in activities like this that is hands-on. Hiking the rims are very challenging. I mean, the rim alone in Kathmandu, if people don't want to go to Everest, is 100 miles. It's about 10,000 meters of altitude gain if you want to do it. So it's like a crazy amount of hiking that is possible just on the valley rim. The treks, they're offbeat treks, super important to do things that are slightly more offbeat. So you're not actually going into where all the people are. So you're a little away. And those opportunities are many, also because it's safe. I mean, there are challenges that we conduct with thousands of riders, a great chance to connect with people where, you understand where the psyche of the Nepali is now. There's a challenge with at least 4,000 participants. It's happening next week, by the way, and I'm expecting 6,000 this year. So it's absolutely crazy. The Kopra Danda trek, I mean, this photograph is taken at about 14,000 feet. The mountain that you see in the back is the 7th highest in the world, Dhaulagiri. It's an 8,000 meter peak, so this sort of stuff is possible in Nepal, which actually leads you to those challenges that I'm talking about. But then more easy things like volunteering at a farm will get you really connected with the people to see where the food comes from, where the agro comes from, that sort of stuff. And, this is from a project that we work with, or a cooking course to just learn Nepali food, very accessible to learn and to take a skill back, which becomes really nice. Or immersing yourself in a village. There's a village in the mountains near Tibet where we take students and we take people inside to just live there for a little while. And that will give people perspective on how village life can be. And that is such an important discovery for people, right? Or going to PK Peak, where you can see 8,000 meter peaks from one spot, which is about 16,000 feet. So challenging, but very, very rewarding. And this sort of stuff is also there. Or just understanding how the working Nepali is changing in the suburbs of Nepal, of Kathmandu, because just like any other country in the world, Nepal is also changing. And to understand that becomes a very interesting exercise. Or learning where, top level coffee comes from in Nepal. Nobody knows Nepal actually has coffee, but actually it has very, very high quality coffee with a very high demand internationally, but very low supply. And that can be a very interesting learning that you can have when you're doing, and custom journeys. I always say, if you can really do the research and do a custom journey and not just follow the crowd, that is the best way to actually do solo travel, because you will make the most out of your journey. Now, just a few tips from my side. I don't want to give too much because it sounds like a big sermon, but the top tips for me is always be curious. It's a great way to connect. In Nepal, when you're curious, people are super happy when you're curious. Nepal is a very different country, so you have to look for perspective to whatever you see. So talking to locals and finding an expert who probably knows something about the perspective of it, why are people doing what they're doing, is something you really want to learn, because it's not the same as anywhere else in the world. So instead of making your own opinions and sticking with it and saying, this is my opinion, I'll stand with it, it's better to take a local perspective. And that gives a new meaning to it. It makes it a little bit more understood. And then if you can reflect on that and write it down, even better. But if you can reflect on everything that you did in a day, because every travel anywhere in the world, me included, you get a lot of stimulus. So you need to reflect on it to actually filter that out to really things that made sense. And if you do that every day, that is a great exercise to do, just just in a half an hour, to just pinpoint down what you got out of that day, and then try to pin that down, and that makes a really good memory. So I think these just a few tips from my side. I won't give too much, and I'll just leave it open for questions if anybody has any. And that's it from me, Monica.
Dhanyabad, Raj. That was fantastic. It makes me want to go again, and it seems like I am going. Unfortunately, it seems like it's gonna be a honeymoon trip, and I cannot go solo.
Yeah,
It
well,
seems bad.
I'll still make
Believe
you
me.
reflect.
I'm laughing at my thought
Reflect is still
alone.
important. We
Anyway,
say in
thank you
Nepal, if
so
you can
much.
survive a honeymoon in Nepal, your marriage is safe.
I believe you. I believe you. I can't wait to be back. For sure. And I have some questions for you, but I would let others ask
Yeah.
theirs. First, Itaru is also here still. Itaru just said that he couldn't
No, thank
couldn't
you so
leave
much,
because it
Itaru.
was so interesting.
Thank
But
you.
he now left. But yeah, Bobby, please welcome once again.
Hi, Raj. I just have a very quick question for you about I
Sure.
know and it kind of intersects in some areas that you've mentioned already, and also in terms of what Monica does also with empowered travel. But my area that I'm really interested in is in spiritual tourism and spiritual travel or sacred travel. And my family's heritage is originally from Bangladesh, so I know like when you get towards northern Bangladesh, towards Assam and Bihar, those areas are very, very immersed, let's say, in folkloric magic and folkloric, spirituality. I'm wondering, is that something that's also very popular in Nepal, or is it still very like Hindu and
Yeah.
Buddhist centric?
No, I mean, the shamanism is still very, very much alive here. And people genuinely believe in a lot of that. And, with the different communities, it's a little different. I can actually share, eventually an article that we just wrote on a shaman right now, because we do shamanistic trips as well here. And those journeys are very, very interesting, because the shamans here are, in my slightly modern thinking, they are, psychologists, they are, herbalists, and the initial doctors, right? So they were actually dealing with psychology and herbalism. And, and nowadays, if somebody has a cut finger, they'll just tell them go to the hospital, of course, because, it makes more sense to do that, right? But they'll still do, there's a lot of understanding that souls don't leave. So you need to actually, do ceremonies to actually allow them to go and stuff like that. So there's a lot of that still happens here. And yeah, I mean, and it's actually integrated into local life. So shamans are like also life coaches, if you like. So they're not really, in modern day terms, there'd be a life coach. So people would go them with their problems, and they'll give good life coaching for them. On the Hindu tradition, we also have fortune tellers who do the same, right? They're life coaches because they read the stars and tell you what to do, and people go to them for advice. So, it feels like mumbo jumbo, but actually in practice, it is just life coaching, if you like. And that's a nice way to look at it, and so a lot of people go to them. Yeah. So the tradition is very, very, very much alive, very, very much alive. Yeah.
Thank you.
And we want to keep it as so. And it was very heartening to see that, the last few times I've been to the shaman festival, you see very young shaman as well. So they're learning the trade. And that is very heartening to know, considering that 1/3 of the population, young population of Nepal, is not in Nepal. They're working in the Gulf and sending money back. So there's some people who are still continuing something like this. And that's amazing to see. Absolutely amazing to see.
Thank you.
Very
Thank you
welcome.
to you both. And I agree. That's wonderful to see and something to support, I hope. And that tourism, I hope, is gonna do just that. Would anybody have some other questions to Raj? I am gonna share the details, the contact details to both of our wonderful local experts and special guests today. So don't worry about that. If you want to contact them privately to continue the conversation, that's gonna be possible. Also, toward the end of the deck, I prepared the QR codes to their social media just so that you can scan with your phone, with your camera, if that's what feels easier to you. But Raj, if there's nobody asking question, I want to challenge you, and we didn't orchestrate that. So if you were to prepare a 3 to 4 week trip for a solo female traveler, like my clients, that are undergoing life transitions, they're also men, more and more, which is beautiful, that are approaching. But if you were prepared to prepare something like this and divide it into 4 stages, the first one is deep rest and introspection. So we are hoping here to have a space where they can be alone. There can be people around, but they're supposed not to speak much during that time, just so that they can get inside better. Second would be more about purpose or discovery. So the time when they can be out, it can be the same destinations that are finally they can explore while talking as well. And we also don't want to produce too much carbon by changing destinations the whole time. So the time where they can, space where they can work on their purpose and do a lot of creativity exercises with people and alone. And then the third one is, as you very well, you nailed it, somewhere where it can challenge them, but still be safe, stage 3, the connection, challenge, and discomfort, and then integrate. So it can also be anywhere really. But where would you take them? If there is anything that comes to mind straight away.
I think the start might be, I mean, I would say the quietness and the introspection part would probably be a Vipassana meditation that can be done. The minimum is actually the toughest one is 10 days. So, it's a little over what your time you have. But the 10-day one is in Kathmandu and in Lumbini and Pokhara, which are really good programs, world proven, really good programs to actually get you to introspect a lot. And I would start with that. I would actually not start with that, because I would actually first give a country perspective. And that I feel is a very important part of actually understanding where you are. And that is about understanding the lifestyle of the people, understanding the philosophy behind the people. It takes a couple of days. And after that, you take them on a 10-day. I mean, they would be on there for 10 days. Nothing we had to do, but they'll be doing it themselves. And when they come back, they need a little bit of rest, because after that, they need to process their minds a little bit. And after they process the minds a little bit, I think that is the time when the challenge can start coming in. I think the challenging part of it can be to start planning their trip, and then going into a challenge that could be, depending on what level of challenge they want. It could be a few days to 19, 20 days. It can be as long as you want. And that would, once they do that, I think coming back and also doing a little bit of a giving back sort of thing can be quite interesting. And I think that is very possible here, because there's a lot of movement that is happening around solo travel here as well in Nepal, within Nepalese trying to, discover solo travel, or groups that are young and are trying to understand other cultures. So that could be a very interesting exercise to actually process what you have done and bring it together and present it, because teaching is the best learning, right? So if you can actually make an effort to teach somebody else what you just learned, it actually, cements itself in your brain. So I'm a very strong believer of that. So, if you give them a chance to do that, then I think the whole journey would become very fulfilling, and they could go back with something that they got out of it, or not, but at least whatever happened, right?
We are not here to sell, I promise, any sort of transformation, but we are here to guide them.
Yeah. But of course, each one has to be tailored to individual, capacities, of course, of perseverance or capacity to do those challenges and stuff like that. And I think that is where the one-on-one really comes in. So I personally always say that if people have the opportunity and the financial bandwidth, of course, to actually talk to locals before they do journeys, then it becomes better. It doesn't have to be booked with them, but at least take advice. And if you take advice, you can put more perspective into your journey.
Raj, that's such a great advice. I really love it. The connection with a local beforehand, not just learning pick up some basic language basics from phrase books, but and learn about the history, etc., and customs and do's and don'ts, but also like this direct contact with the local. I love it before they go. Thank you for this. It's very inspiring, and thank you for the whole presentation and all your idea. I actually went to the Vipassana right there in Kathmandu, and it was fascinating, and the food was exceptional. Speaking of food, I know
not that you get too much of it, but
they actually were quite. The portions were quite generous, but yeah, you're right. You get the food at 6:30 and then 11:30, like Buddhist too, even though it's not a Buddhism really course, and then almost nothing, or a tea or fruits at 5 p.m. if it's your first time at Vipassana. Yeah, I know some of you know of Vipassana because we spoke about it in the past. But thank you, Raj. Thank you once again. I would like to wrap up. Really, thank you, Dhanyavad. With just a little summary and ways to engage and keep the conversation going. Just making sure that I have the right screen open here when I share it. Yeah, it's 15 past, so if anybody needs to leave, we won't be disappointed. We will be totally understanding of that. So yeah, the Q&A part, we just done that. So just very shortly, just so that we bring it all together. So the main reason behind the foundation of empowered travel was to get the most out of the solo travel or solo sabbatical, as I've been meeting a lot of women and travelers in general that were hoping for the solo travel to bring them clarity, rest, soft skills, and purpose, but oftentimes it couldn't be further from that. And to be honest, like when I'm asked about the solo travel tips, I usually go away from go just shoulder season, or travel by public transportation, or stay with the locals and opt for sustainable accommodations, which is of course very important, and our program is filled with this type of trip tips as well. But I prefer to go more into a more practical, in my opinion personally, and allowing for more opportunity for real change tips. And those are: to get the most out of your solo trip, we recommend people to surrender, to accept the things we cannot control, and be present. In Japanese mindset, it's called ichigo ichie, being completely present where you are. We also, and the Japanese mindset that this program is mostly rooted in, the Japanese psychology invites us to put our attention outwardly instead of constantly dwell on the whys, on the past. We try to be present and look forward, not in the future much really, but just be here. Stop, look at the tree, listen to the sound of the leaves, listen to the conversations. There's a lot of exercises throughout the program that, without really being too pushy, inspire us to do that. To get the most out of it, we also recommend that slow is the new fast, and expressing gratitude over complaining mindset, and keeping a journal, of course, very easy but very important. Picking up a right destination and the basics of the local language. And here, Raj, I don't know if you allow me, but I will definitely add and get in touch with a local beforehand. Less self-focused. So going out and being with the locals. There's a variety of different apps that allow us to book experiences, either with amazing outfitters such as Raj or Itaru, or also get a one-day or half-day trips for some services and apps. And I think the key word here, there's always a key word throughout the webinars. And I think today it was to give back and be of service. And in Japanese culture, it's called omotenashi. And we also invite our clients to do a lot of that. And we give them examples of how they can apply it into their everyday lives. We provide them with tables where they are asked to fill what kind of service they've executed this very day. And here I just like a question for reflection. When you are fully immersed in an act of service, do you find that your thoughts slow down, or that you feel more present? How does this compare to when you are caught up in worries or plans? I'm going to read it once again. When you are fully immersed in an act of service, do you find that your thoughts slow down, or that you feel more present? How does this compare to when you are caught up in worries or plans? And here a quote from one of the pioneers of Japanese mindset globally, David Reynolds, and it goes: "The doing changes the attitudes. The service alters the suffering self." I'm putting so much emphasis here on that part, as I feel oftentimes, I mean, Raj, you nailed it, but oftentimes we don't do that when we travel solo. We focus on our inner development, our self-development, forgetting that the ultimate sign that we actually grown is when the self is not that important anymore, when we focus on how we can contribute, and we find immense joy without expectations in doing so. And this is also the main reason of our program. Here, I'm gonna skip this one, but I'm gonna send you this presentation. This is a quote from some of you I know, Bobby and others who were kind enough to join us at the Art of Solo Travel workshop last week. This is a 2-minute video of one of our first clients from Nada, 61, from Jordan, originally living in Canada, who is explaining how she benefited from the solo travel experience that took her to Crete and Greece. It was full of discomfort, full of bumps on the road, but she grew, and she even hitchhiked, even though she was totally scared of traveling solo. She just, without thinking, ended up hitchhiking and having the time of her life. So, and she talks about it here in this little video. So in my follow-up, I will make sure that I attach this presentation. Now we don't have time, so just like skip it. And just to summarize again from the 2024 research, how we can get the most of our solo travel accordingly to behavioral economists. So apparently, again, a big surprise to me after studying this for a while. So apparently the travelers believe that answering the question, what factors were essential to you when successfully making changes in your life? Basically, over 30% said that taking small steps was the most relevant. And this is exactly what Kaizen, the Japanese approach to change. So instead of revolutionary changes, they opt for making a small progress every day towards creating a momentum, followed by setting goals that work with my life, which resonates with our ikigai, developing new routines and habits, again, something very interesting, but oftentimes completely lost in our solo travel experiences. We don't develop a routine or habits. We just go with the flow and believe that's best, not necessarily always. Setting goals that matter to me, etc., etc. And the last one is also very beautiful, accepting ups and downs as part of the process. So quite of unusual solo travel tips, but we believe quintessential. And just how we can take an action today to continue the conversation, and inviting you all to schedule a call just to talk about your own destination choice, completely for free. This is a QR code here where you can schedule a meeting. I would love to talk to you. In our blog, there's a lot of other ideas about solo travel destinations as well. We are planning to host another workshop on how to solo bike tour long term, something that made me empowered in a big way often. So I'm planning to do that. We were planning to do that as well. And also with anybody who is interested in really going in with any product of ours, we have a guidebook, interactive guidebook. Second option is the guidebook plus coaching. And the third one is a more extensive travel logistic planning for those who don't have much time to do it on their own, but still need to contribute and be very engaged in the process, because that's part of self-empowerment process. We are offering a free coaching session as well with every of these purchases. And here, finally, how we can contact our wonderful special guest today. This is an Instagram of Raj and his company, amazing company, Social Tours, that I believe is a total pioneer in terms of community-based tourism and traveling with meaning in Nepal. And I will surely, I want to make Raj our local expert there, and without a doubt, we will feel enormously great about sending our clients to Raj's way for the variety of reasons. And here as well, Itaru Suzuki-san's Instagram profile, where you can connect with him in case you want to stay at his monastery and have him guide you through Zazen meditations every day. You can be in silence. It's a wonderful place. I can also send you more pictures in the follow-up. And here the contact to us as well, our Instagram and our website. And yes, finally, thank you so much. It was wonderful to have you here. Thank you for all of you for staying so long. I really appreciate that. It's been a while. I mean, since, over 100 minutes now. So thank you very much. And we are here in case anybody wants to continue the conversation. And Raj, thank you so much for your contribution. I learned a lot about Nepal as well. So thank you very much. And thank you for all of you. I hope we can stay in touch. And I